Stitch Cuties, I'm Brittany with Stitches of Love Quilting, and in this video we're going to use our embroidery machine and our block 9 kit to create this super cute Rudolph block for our Christmas Lane block of the month quilt. So first thing you're going to do is open your pattern, read through all of the instructions, and we're going to put our embroidery file onto our machine. I have my machine set up right in front of me. I have my 8x12 hoop loaded with my Sulky Tear Easy stabilizer. I've laid out all my thread colors in order of appearance in the pattern, and then I've also read through the pattern and organized my applique pieces in order of appearance in the pattern as well. And I have gone on and peeled the fusible backing off of them. So without further ado, let's get started. We are going to load our white thread on our machine and prompt the machine to do the first line so we can put our fabric in place. So now on your embroidery hoop, just like mine, you'll have a straight line at the top and bottom of your hoop. This is going to be a guide for putting our Christmas Lane fabric in place. Now I always turn my hoop sideways, as you know by block 9. I have it on my Steady Betty and I turn it sideways so that it fits on that Steady Betty and in the camera angle. So I am simply going to put my fabric in place, and you just want to make sure that it's centered in your hoop and also covering these stitch lines. And remember, at the end you will trim this down significantly so you have nearly an inch or so on all 4 sides extra. And so I am going to magically find the end of my tape, hopefully, and I'm going to simply tape this in place. Now I use that 3M transport tape. I love it. You can use whatever kind of tape you like to use. Regular home office, like Scotch tape, is fine, whatever you like to do. And I'm just going to put that in place, put my tape away. And then when I load this back on, I'm going to continue with the white thread for the next several steps and into our first step of actually doing the buttonhole stitching. So we're not going to have to change the thread until step 19. So when I put this back on, the machine will give us our first round of applique outlines. Okay, so now we have our first round of applique pieces. You'll be able to see it quite clearly at your own sewing space. So we're going to start with numerical order. So we are on step 9, ironing our pieces on. So first up, we're going to iron piece number 1 on. Now, as you know, in this block of the month, when we have the 2 pieces, you are going to iron both into place, and that allows us to double line the lighter pieces so that this background fabric doesn't show through. I am going to remove my tape so I don't accidentally hit it with the iron and melt it and have a little gooey mess. And you just want to take your time and pay attention, make sure you're getting your applique piece in place, and we are going to give this a little press. And then we'll simply come back with this second piece and put it right on top of it. It doesn't matter which piece you put down first, they're exactly the same. I guess if you like one better than the other, you can put it down first. And simply give it a nice press across. So that was piece number 1. Now we're going to do pieces 6, 7, and 8, which will build our little Christmas tree that sits on top of Rudolph. Because you know, Rudolph, he's got to carry something. Why not a Christmas tree? And then here is the tree itself. There we go. And now our star, which is piece number 8. How cute is this? I love it. I love all the bright colors in this quilt, don't you? It's just really fun. I love bold colors at Christmas. Now we are going to move over and start building out the antlers and the ears of our Rudolph. So we are going to do pieces 16, 17, 18, and 19. And with a pokey piece like this, you want to make sure you have it in place all the way around on all the edges before you start ironing. There you go. Now we're going to do number 17, which is the next antler. There we go. And again, if you want to use your little 4-in-1 tool, the little stiletto or the little wooden end to get your pieces in place without burning your finger, always a good idea. Now 18 is our little ear right here. And number 19. Next we will do pieces 24, 25, and 26, which are the little pieces that sort of float, if you will, Alrighty, that's in place. So we have our moon floating in the sky. And from our moon, we have a little heart that hangs. So cute. And then the next piece, the last piece on this step, is another fun little star right in place. Don't you just love that these are already cut out for you? I do. Okay, so now let's take a look at what your hoop looks like facing the right direction. So now you're going to keep that white thread on. You're going to continue to step 10, and we're going to get a few more applique outlines. Okay, so on this step, we're basically going to start assembling Rudolph. It's very important on this because the pieces over and underlap that you do put them in numerical order. So we're going to go 2, 4, 9, and 20. So first up, his little leg. So cute. And then our next leg. There we go. And now we'll put Rudolph's body in place and just make sure you get his tail where it belongs and then move over, get the rest of his body in place. There we go, and begin ironing. Easy peasy. And now piece number 20, which is part of the top of his head. There we go. Perfect. And give it a press. Now we'll continue with the white thread on to the next step. So we are moving on to step 12, and the machine will do our next round of applique outlines. Okay, so now we have our next round of applique outlines, and we will begin ironing the pieces into place. We'll start with piece number 3, which is a little foot on your little Rudolph. Or maybe you could call it his shoes, or his hooves, his feetsies. And now the other little piece right here, that's piece 5. Now we move on to our holly, 10, 11, and 12. Now each holly piece is different, so you want to make sure you put the right piece in the right place. And it's really easy if you want to also use your applique placement guide that comes in your pattern. If you ever want to just double check your pieces when you're laying them out before the stitching is done, you know, before you have your applique outlines, you can organize your pieces using that placement guide. That's what I do. I find it handy. Glimpse at that to get all the numbers. And now the 3 berries, you don't have to worry. They're all exactly the same. We wouldn't do that to you. Make 3 different circles. And the main thing is when you're working with a little piece, make sure you have the fusible side down. At least for me, when I'm working with a little bitty piece, that's where my little mistake will happen of having my piece flip, if you will. And I'm just using my stiletto to get it in place where I want it. Boop, boop, boop. Why am I having a hard time? Look at me, you guys. Look at that. I can't get it to stay. Honest to Pete. There we go. The challenge of my day, getting my holly berries in the perfect spot. Now I want to show you while they're still hot. If you don't like the perfect spot you got it in while it's still hot, you can just kind of move it a little and get it right where you want, and then it'll stay. Now we are going to put his face on. It's not a perfect circle, so you kind of want to turn it a little until it fits just so. It's kind of like bumpier on the top, if you will. It's got a little crook on the top. And we put this right in place. Now again, continue with that white thread, and we are moving on to step 14. Our machine is going to outline Rudolph's fancy little nose. So now it is time to put Rudolph's nose on. Now it's a perfect circle, so it's very easy to get in place. And now we have one more applique outline for the machine to stitch, and that is the little shiny accent on Rudolph's nose. Okay, so let's iron the final piece in place. It is white, so there are 2 of them. Again, it doesn't matter which one you put down first. So to make sure you get it in place, and we will give this a press, And then you will put the second one right in place on top of it. Again, you can use your little 4-in-1 tool if you need it to hold it in place so that you don't burn your fingers. And now we are on to step 18. So we have all of our applique pieces ironed in place. This is what your hoop should look like. You have a cute little Rudolph. He just needs stitched. So first up, we're going to leave that white thread on so that the machine can stitch the little white accent that we just ironed on. All right, let's take a look. Cutest little buttonhole stitching ever. I love it. I took it down really small on that, obviously. And now we are going to load color turquoise 1095, and the machine will stitch our star and of course the outline of our snow to really make that snow pop on our block. All right, take a look at your stitching. I just love the way that turquoise pops on the white. Isn't that good looking? I love it. So now we are going to load our 1130 brown, and our machine is going to stitch pieces 2, 4, 6, 9, and 20. Well, hello there, Rudolph. Look how cute he looks when he is stitched. So his legs, if you notice, we did a line of buttonhole stitching on each leg. Remember, that was just one piece and one piece. And by doing this extra line of stitching, we gave the illusion that you had 2 pieces there to give that dimension. So now Rudolph's little body and part of his face and his legs are stitched. Now we are going to change to the black thread 1005. We're on step 21 of your pattern, and we are going to have little Rudolph start to come to life with a little smile and eyes, and of course his little shoesies or his feet will be stitched. Alrighty, take a look at this happy little reindeer. How fun is Rudolph? So he's got a little smile, and just like we did on the legs, there's an extra little bit of stitching around the circle to give the appearance that this is 2 pieces instead of 1 for both of the black pieces to make his little feet. So now we are going to load the dark green, the medium dark avocado. So we're on step number 22. This is color number 1176, and the machine is going to stitch the accent lines inside of your holly leaves, and it's also going to stitch around the little Christmas tree. Alrighty, take a look, your little tree, and then the accent lines on your holly, on your little Rudolph, are stitched. Now we're going to load our 1833 pumpkin pie, and the machine is going to stitch the little star on top of the tree. Alrighty, so your little orange star is stitched. Now we're going to load our classic avocado green, and the machine will stitch the outside of your 3 holly leaves. Take a look at your little holly leaves. They're complete and they look so cute. Now it is time to load the red so that you can stitch your berries, the little heart over here, and of course, the famous Rudolph nose. Yay, Rudolph has a nose. How cute is he? And then your berries and your heart are stitched as well. Now it is time to load our silver gray 1218, and both of Rudolph's antlers will be stitched. And now take a look at your little antlers, looking good. Now we are going to load 1056 medium tawny tan. We're on step 27, and the little outer part of the bottom part of the face of Rudolph and his 2 little ears will be stitched. Alrighty, it's almost done, looking good, right? We have one last color to load, and that is 0567 Butterfly Gold to stitch the moon and the cute little line that the heart hangs from. Ta-da! You are all done. Let's take a look from top to bottom. All of your stitching looks so good, and your block 9 Rudolph is complete. So now you will use your placement guide. Let me reach mine over here. This is the outer line right here is your 8-inch trim line. So remember that this top is a guide, and then you'll come out a little bit further to get your 8-inch width after you take it out of the hoop. So once you remove your stabilizer and trim your block, make sure to store your block in a safe place and eagerly look forward to making your next block, which will be block number 10. Happy stitching!